Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
There is much demand from many of you for a Katta Clutter episode on what happened at Lakhimpur Khedi in Uttar Pradesh, where a bunch of farmers and a bunch of others got killed in a day of really bad violence. Now, the reason I haven't spoken about that as yet is that I don't know what is there to declutter at the point, because we are still waiting for more information and details to come in. That is, the reporters who've reached there, they have to send back the story. So we figure out what happened and whether it adds up or it doesn't add up, or if there's clutter or complications or complexities that need to be addressed. Post-mortem reports are also yet to come. We also have a reporter there, Neelam Pandey, who is one of our senior people, brilliant correspondent, and Praveen Jain, who everybody knows, one of India's foremost photographers for 2 generations. So they are both there, and we'll have stories, and you will see those stories today, tomorrow, day after, I think, for the next couple of days. Nevertheless, I'm talking about today the politics arising from this incident. And the politics right now is over these visits by political figures. So you see Priyanka Gandhi, among many others, arrested or detained by Uttar Pradesh government, Akhilesh Yadav also. You also see Bhupesh Baghel, the Congress Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh, who's now also been appointed Congress Party's observer for Uttar Pradesh elections, landing up in Lucknow and not being allowed to go. And an officer is reading out an order saying you are not allowed to go to Lakhimpur Khedi, and he says, no, I've just come to Lucknow, but he's not allowed to leave. So he's sitting in Dharna at Lucknow airport and talking to the media, etc. So full-on politics is on at this point of time. Now, one of the things that Priyanka Gandhi said in a couple of the interviews that she gave to TV channels, particularly NDTV and India Today, to Vishnu Shom I also saw one with Rajdeep Sardesai. So she's answering the question that why are you accusing us of politicking or playing politics? And she said in one place that this is not political tourism. Political tourism is what Modi ji does. He goes, he sits on the swing with Xi Jinping, goes to Japan, etc., etc. We don't do political tourism. This is politics. I belong to a political party that is opposed to the BJP, and it is my job to raise the voice of the people who feel aggrieved. So that is how she's responded. In fact, in her interview with Rajdeep Sardesai, she also said that, look, if we don't go to these places and if we don't take up these causes, then you say opposition has no game on the ground. Opposition doesn't go anywhere. And when we go there, you say that we are playing politics. So what is politics? Democracy is about politics. Anyway, now what is politics and what is political tourism? So first of all, politics has always been about going to the spot. Just as journalism is about going to the ground, politics also, true politics is about going to the ground. True politics is not done by playing with data on a computer and by saying is caste ko yahan laga do, is caste ko idhar candidate. That is not the way politics really works. Now, even if you look at Narendra Modi's history, he's actually traveled across the country more than almost any politician of his generation, even when he was a Swayam Sevak. In fact, he says that he spent time in every district of the country, which is a claim that's mostly true, because people have seen him travel, staying like a commoner in many places. So there's an understanding of the country. And he's also in the past never lost an opportunity to visit the sites of such incidents or these places. For example, his famous appearance in Mumbai in 2008, November 2008, during 26/11. In fact, he was seen at the barricades just outside the Oberoi Hotel in Mumbai. And then he also got criticized by the Congress people and others who said that he was playing politics. So in a democracy, it's perfectly fine for politicians to go to these places. Narendra Modi also went to Kargil while the war was on to encourage the soldiers, but it was a political opportunity as well. I must also qualify that at that point the central government was his own party. So that was not to rub his finger in the eye of another party's government. So politicians take advantage of these things. The other thing that's said, one is on the one hand, people say, people who are opposed to the Congress and Priyanka and Rahul, they say, ये क्या है, political tourism है. You will go once, you will forget about it. It's episodic. It's a bit like Rahul Gandhi went to Bhatta Parsol, where land was being acquired and there was a farmers' agitation against land acquisition a few years back. And then what happened? There was a motorbike ride. He also went to this place called Mirchipur in Haryana, where some Dalits were killed. What happened after that? This was forgotten. So these are episodic visits. In fact, it just so happens that the young politician who drove him on his motorbike through Bhatta Parsol to the village, he subsequently joined the BJP. Nevertheless, this is how politics is done. Politics in a democracy is a very touchy-feely thing. People have to see their politicians. People have to see their politicians in their moments of joy. मेरे घर में शादी है. I have a wedding in my family, so my MLA has to visit me. In fact, if you meet politicians, they say, I get fed up. This is the wedding season. I have to visit 10 weddings, 12 weddings every evening, because if I don't go to one, it creates a problem for me. It becomes an incident in my constituency. Next time I go to ask for votes, people say, you didn't come for my child's wedding. And similarly, if it's a mourning or it's a funeral, you have to go. So in your happy moments, in your bad moments, you expect to see your public representative or your politicians. So while the critics of the Congress party and the Gandhi family and Gandhi siblings say episodic hai, dramabazi hai, this is political tourism, their supporters on the other hand say, oh, this is Priyanka Gandhi's Belchi moment. Now, I see that Belchi moment mentioned all the time. I am quite sure that most people know what Belchi moment is. That is when Indira Gandhi went atop an elephant into a village in Bihar some time back in the past. But more than that, I will also say for sure that most people don't know the details of what happened and what the outcome was. So I will tell you a bit about that also. And you can then make an assessment whether this is Priyanka Gandhi's Belchi moment or not, or whether her visit at Sonbhadra a couple of years earlier, was that a Belchi moment or not, because that's also, if you Google, you will find a lot of stories saying that is Priyanka Gandhi's Belchi moment. That's when about 10 people of deprived classes were killed in Sonbhadra. Sonbhadra is one of the most distant, least developed districts of Uttar Pradesh, which for a long time was also infested with Naxal activity, not so much right now. Now, first of all, see how politicians act when such incidents happen. So, I will not do it like in a politically secular manner. I'll just list a whole lot of politicians from various parties to tell you that this is the trend and this is how they do it. I mentioned Narendra Modi going to Kargil and going to Mumbai during 26/11 while operations were going on, while commandos were still operating inside the hotels. But more recently, in the first week of November, I think on 1st of November 2013, he wasn't Prime Minister yet. He had been Chief Minister of Gujarat and now nominated to be his party's Prime Ministerial candidate in the 2014 elections. So you would remember that on 27th of October 2013, he was to address a public meeting in Patna. So there was a set of serial bombings that day in Patna, which led to the loss of 6 lives. That was 27th of October. A few days later, about 1st of November, he landed up in Nalanda, in the village from where these families had come, or some of these families had come. And he visited the families of 3 of these victims. Now, Nitish Kumar at that point was on the other side of the fence, and these are really amusing quotes, because in politics, once again, people say one thing when they're on one side, quite the opposite when they're on the other. And politicians are shameless, right? Politicians are shameless. They are very thick-skinned. Even if you remind them of what they said earlier, they don't bother. For example, you can now remind the BJP people any number of times as you wish that this is what you said when petrol and diesel prices were going higher under UPA, and now you don't complain. They will just let it pass over. So it's like water over a duck's back, or what we call in Hindi, chikna ghada, right? Pour as much water as you wish over a grease painted pitcher and it all flow down, nothing will stick to it. So politicians are like that. So see some of these quotes. Nitish Kumar on Narendra Modi's visit to these victims of Patna serial blast. Nitish is then the Chief Minister of Bihar, but not with the BJP. He said, This is just a political gimmick and nothing else. Outsiders can't understand what's happening in Bihar. Okay, Narendra Modi also handed over 5 lakh rupees to the kin, to the families of those who had got killed. And once again, Bihar government took umbrage at it, that how can the chief minister of another state or a leader from another state come to our state and do this? And see, it gets more colorful as more leaders come in from JDU. All of these are now partners with the BJP. So don't remind them of these, but even if you remind them, nothing will happen to them, right? It was Shivanand Tiwari who said this kind of behavior does not suit somebody who's been already nominated as a prime ministerial candidate by his party, the BJP, right? Then KC Tyagi, you see him often on TV, etc. KC Tyagi, veteran politician, he said it's a naked aggression. It's an exact words. It's a naked aggression from one state on another. Now, you remind him that if you said this when Narendra Modi came into Bihar, when it was your government, why are you not complaining now when Bhupesh Baghel is going to Lucknow and he's being stopped by the chief minister there? Are you with that chief minister now, or are you on the other side? You choose your side. Of course, he's right now on that side. He's with the BJP. So KC Tyagi said it's a naked aggression from one state on another. This is like cruel invaders from the medieval period. Still now, only the center interfered in the states. Now, one state has begun to interfere in another state. Once again, don't ask him which side is he on. He's now on the BJP side, Narendra Modi's side. Then Amit Shah. Amit Shah went to a village called Perumbavoor in Kerala in 2016 in the run-up to the state elections. In fact, state election campaign was on. That's when a Dalit woman, young Dalit woman called Jisha had been raped and murdered. So he went to her home, and then he said the law and order situation in the state is at its worst. A Dalit woman has been raped and later murdered. The chief minister is mum. Who's responsible? Right? Politics. His party was in power in Delhi. He was then the president of his party. September 2017, he also visited the families of victims of political violence in West Bengal, and he said they only suffered because they did not subscribe to TMC's ideology but to the BJP's ideology. Once again, April 3, 2018, in Mysuru, he visited the family of Raju, who was an activist who had been killed earlier in broad daylight by a gang of mafiosi in that place, who he and his fellow activists were trying to oppose or bring to book. JP Nadda, who succeeded Amit Shah, also went to the village of Sonarpur again to visit the families of victims of political violence. Then Una, let's leave the BJP out for the moment now. BJP ka ho gaya, right? Look at other leaders. Arvind Kejriwal went to Una. That's where Dalit boys were caught, tied, and also beaten up very badly, and those videos had come out. A terrible atrocity. So he reached there. Rahul Gandhi also reached there, and both of them made their statements, and both of them said their things. In fact, Arvind Kejriwal said that this is an anti-Dalit government. Anandiben Patel's BJP government is an anti-Dalit government. This is a result of anti-Dalit propaganda by that government, and this is not the only incident taking place in Gujarat. Then Shivraj Singh Chauhan, he visited the Mandsaur rape victim in 2018 July. That's when Congress was in power, and he said she's a daughter of Madhya Pradesh, and also offered money, relief, etc., for her family. Then, very recently, just last year, September 12, 2019, you might remember, there was a strange freak incident in Chennai when a hoarding, in a strong wind, a hoarding fell and it hit a young techie called Subhashree Ravi, who was passing by, 23-year-old. She was hit by the hoarding that fell in the wind and she died. So Stalin, then an opposition leader, visited her home, also made a grant of 5 lakhs to her family. So this is example after example I can quote for you. There was an infamous Pipli rape case. This is a Pipli in Odisha. This is nothing to do with Pipli Live, the movie, or Pipli that you might see on your way from Delhi to Chandigarh or Amritsar. No, this is a Pipli in Odisha. So there was the rape of a Dalit woman, and once again Dharmendra Pradhan, who's now our education minister, He went there and he said the Naveen Patnaik government is anti-woman, anti-Odisha. So everybody does it. That's how politics runs, and that's why when people are happy, they are happy to see. They want to see their leaders. When they are in trouble, they only have hope from their leaders. They only have hope from political figures, from people who can raise their voice. That's how democracy works. Now, Belchi, before I let you go, I will tell you a bit about Belchi. Now, summer of 1977, Indira Gandhi lost power after the emergency, and that was an interesting election because she was completely wiped out in the Hindi heartland. She did all right, in fact more than all right in the south. So she still had substantial numbers in Lok Sabha, but in the Hindi heartland she had been wiped out. A lot of it was the impact of the forced sterilization drive carried out by her son, plus a lot of the excesses of the emergency, including arrests, detention without trial for long periods. A lot of that happened in the Hindi heartland. So state of Bihar also she had lost. In fact, the movement that brought her down, that first got her to panic so much that she had to declare an emergency, or she decided to declare an emergency because she felt so pressured, and that led to her defeat. That movement had also started in Bihar, and Jayaprakash Narayan had started that movement. Now it so happened that shortly after she had lost that election, on 27th May 1977, and why is it an easy date to remember? It's also the death anniversary of Jawaharlal Nehru. So sometimes people ask me, how do you remember these dates and all? You try to also remember some dates by association. So 27th May 1977, 11 Dalits, then they were called Harijans, not Dalits, 11 Harijans were killed in a village called Belchi. Now, Belchi then was in a very backward area, sort of on the outer borders of the extended Patna district and Nalanda. Very crime infested, very sort of militant infested, gang infested area at that point. Now, these Dalits had been killed. This happened, remember, on 27th of May. Now, this area falls under a district, or what was then a district called Bihar Sharif, because it's also the resting place of a very famous and respected Sufi saint. Now that region was still in news because this was the first massacre of Harijans in Bihar. It had never happened before, and suddenly there was a feeling that Indira Gandhi gayi, so Harijans or Dalits are now without any protection. Now upper caste can come and kill them. This massacre was carried out by a gang of Kurmis, armed gang of Kurmis. They basically caught these people, 8 of them Dalits, 3 Sonars, I think 6 of them were Paswan, if I remember correctly. Their hands were tied behind their backs. They were taken to a field where funeral pyres were already burning for them, and they were shot and thrown into those funeral pyres. So this was done like the movies, like really bad movies. It was a terrible massacre. So the feeling was that, oh, Indira Gandhi is gone, so Dalits or weaker sections have lost their protection. While this was still being debated, those days things don't travel so fast, news didn't travel so fast. While this was still traveling, a communal riot took place in Bihar Sharif in July, in which a few Muslims were killed. So once again the same feeling that, see, Indira Gandhi has lost power, so now weaker sections are not safe, which means Harijans are not safe, and Muslims and minorities are not safe. So already voters of the Hindi heartland, particularly voters of Bihar, and these are communities or sections which had always voted for the Congress party. They were committed voters, they were vote banks, and they had begun to get a buyer's remorse. Okay, अरे क्या किया, जनता पार्टी को वोट दिया, we voted for Janata Party, but now we've got this, we've lost our protection. It was around that time, in the first half of August, that Mrs. Gandhi decided to visit Patna. So she lands up in Patna, takes her party by surprise. From Patna, she goes to Bihar Sharif. From Bihar Sharif, she says, I'm going to Belchi. And everybody told her Belchi is too far. The road is all inundated because remember, it was August and peak monsoon. Even today, if you try to go to Belchi, maybe in peak monsoon, you might get into trouble there because roads will be flooded and there'll be mud and there'll be mess. But this was 1977. How far back was it? August 1, 1977 is the first time I got a full-time reporter's job with the Indian Express, in my first job with the Express, so that far back. Now, she said, I'm going to Belchi. So she went in car to some distance. Then they said the car can't go. Then she said, doesn't matter, I'll drive in a Jeep. Then she started driving in a Jeep. And after a while, the Jeep also got stuck. The wheel of the Jeep got stuck in the mud. So again, everybody with her said, let's go back, let's go back, let's go back. It's too tough and there's no way you're going to be able to reach Belchi, plus it will not be safe. And she said, no, I'm going to Belchi. So then they did the next thing, which is they found a tractor and they said the tractor will pull the Jeep. So tractor then started pulling the Jeep. They went some distance and then the tractor also got stuck. And then everybody said, we have to go back. So Mrs. Gandhi started walking. And she said, anybody who doesn't want to come is welcome to stay back. And later she said, told one of her biographers that I knew that nobody would stay back. So people started walking with her until somebody came in and said that, look, there's a temple nearby which has an elephant. So they said, okay, we'll fetch the elephant. So fetch the elephant. Elephant was called Moti. But the Mahoit said, look, I have the elephant. I can take you on the elephant, but I don't have a hoda. I don't have a seat on the elephant. So can you ride an elephant without a hoda, without anything to hold on to? And Mrs. Gandhi then apparently said, I mean in her own words, that बहुत दिन से मौका नहीं मिला है हाथी पर बैठने का, आज मैं हाथी पर बैठती हूँ. I haven't had an opportunity to sit on ride an elephant for a long time. Let me do it. So she sat on the elephant without a hoda, without a seat, without a harness, behind the Mahout, and Pratibha Sinha, who was the Congress leader at that point, she sat behind her. This was a 3.5-hour ride on the elephant. And the elephant went through a river which was in a spate, and Mrs. Gandhi later described, and a couple of the journalists who were traveling, politicians make sure they get publicity. They reported that water had come up to the belly level of the elephant, but still they kept on moving, and they reached the village of Belchi around sunset. When they reached there, she did not dismount from the elephant. She got the elephant to kneel and bend so she could listen to the villagers. And for villagers, semi-clad, poor Harijans at that point who'd lost the sole earning members of their family, it was a big thing that Mrs. Gandhi had come there. So she spent some time with them. On the way back, full on politics as you might call it, she stopped at villages, she had Harijan families feed her puris, she did all that. Then she addressed a student rally in Bakhtiarpur on the way back. So this was a full political outing, and by the time she had finished it, I told you about buyer's remorse. That buyer's remorse was picking up. So already people there, now I don't know if somebody planted that slogan in their heads, but already people there, particularly Harijans and Muslims, right? Congress party's old Pakka vote banks, which Congress party has lost lately in the Hindi heartland, they were shouting, आधी रोटी खाएंगे, इंदिरा वापस लाएंगे, right? आधी रोटी खाएंगे. That means we'll starve, we'll sleep on half empty stomachs, but we'll bring Indira Gandhi back. Also, there's another slogan from that time which came up. I don't know whether one of her publicists or activists planted with people, or somebody there in Bihar, everybody is a political pundit, or somebody there invented it. So this was Indira tere abhav mein Harijan mare jate hain, right? So by the time she came back, it was like she was staging a comeback. And on the way back, see, this is how politics is done. On the way back, she made sure that went to the hospital, that she went to the big hospital in Patna, the biggest hospital, where Jayaprakash Narayan, who had led the total revolution under her, and who had brought her down from power, and who she had jailed during the emergency, she visited him to wish him well, and in the process also got his blessing. So the headline became Indira Gandhi visits ailing Jayaprakash Narayan, who blesses her. So that was then seen like her return ticket to power. But remember, that was a different time. Indira Gandhi was a different leader. She had not become so deeply unpopular, chronically so, as say the Congress party has now become in the Hindi heartland, UP, Bihar particularly. So there are many, many differences. To call anything anybody's Belchi moment is a very big deal. So you are far away from any Belchi movement because everybody keeps saying Belchi movement, I thought I'll tell you a bit about it. At the same time, in conclusion, I would say that politics is good. Politics is good because without politics, there is no democracy. Politics also brings empowerment. It can also take away empowerment, but even if you lose empowerment, as most Indians did during the emergency, what brought it back to them? It's politics that earned it back to them. So politics is good. Don't worry. Remember that famous line from Lalu Yadav, "Bahut politics hai," right? Now, he may have sounded exasperated, but without politics, someone like him from backward castes, very poor family, would not have become such a powerful political leader and would not have founded a powerful political dynasty. That's the reason at the Print we say we love politics, and that's the reason we say because politics matters. And soon enough, we'll be putting out some of these merchandise on sale. So once again, keep an eye.